Okay, this is manage a project using digital tools. We're going to look at Google tools, but you can apply what you're going to learn in this to any other kind of tools. Microsoft has a suite of tools, and there are some others online. This lesson comes from Applied Digital Skills. We won't be watching the videos, but I got this from their curriculum, and there is more detail in it if you want to learn more about this. If you go to Applied Digital Skills online and search for Manage a Project, you'll find all of the videos that we didn't go through. And we're going to have a whole lesson on how to use Applied Digital Skills soon, and then we'll get it on YouTube after that. All right, so the first step in most projects is brainstorming, and everybody has a pretty good idea of what that is. But there's two questions that Google offers to think about while you're brainstorming, and that's what problem is it supposed to solve, and what's the project's purpose. There are some tools that you can use in this. One is Meet, which is a pretty new tool. You may not have seen it yet, but it's based on their Hangouts. It is a video call, and it's quite a lot like Zoom. You would also need someone to be in charge of the meeting notes. Ideally, more than one person will be taking notes, and then you can put them together. And if you do that in a digital document, like in Google Docs, then you can all share it later. You can also have a shared folder in Google Drive that the whole team can access. I have actually never been in a project where we had a project charter, but I think it's a really good idea. And if you worked in a place where you think people might look at you weird if you said, let's make a project charter, you could just call it something like an organizational document. It's a really good place to start. And we're going to actually create one in Google Docs. So the first thing you do is you write in the purpose of the project, which is a good idea because if you have ever worked on a project in a team, it's very easy for the team to kind of go off on a tangent and walk away from the original purpose. You'll also list the goals, and you'll identify the people important to the project. We're going to put all of those parts in a sample document, and then some other sections that you may want to add are budget, deadlines, and potential problems. So we're going to go to Google Docs. I'm going to show you a couple ways to get there. One is if you are in Google Drive. If you go to New, you can choose Google Docs there. And also if you're on the main page, there's this grid up in the right-hand corner. If you click that, you can scroll down until you find Docs. So we're just going to create a blank one. And we're going to put in the word project purpose. And I'm just going to put in some filler. And we are going to format this by going up here and choosing heading. We'll say heading 1. So this up here is just some formatting that they've done for you that you can choose from. Then another header is goals. Then after that, you can put in a numbered list. This is more filler text. So I'm going to make this heading 1 again, and I'm going to turn this into a numbered list, and it's really easy to do that. If you go up here, there's numbered list right next to bulleted list. You could do either. We'll make this one numbered. So it automatically puts these over on the side and lines everything up for you really nice. Then when you hit enter, it'll give you 3. If you don't have a third goal, just hit enter again and you'll go over to the side. And then the next part is people, which apparently I can't spell now. And we are going to insert a table here. Again, this is something that is really easy. So you go to insert and table. And then if you know how many columns you need, you can choose that at the beginning. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe I need 5. I only made 1 row. You probably will need more than that. So I'm going to go ahead and insert rows. I'm going to change the format on the word people. And then the first row, I'm going to name all of the columns. Okay, so I put in 5 columns and then I decided I only need 4. So I'm going to go to the last column and just delete it, and it automatically respaces everything for me. And then you will want to fill all this stuff in. Oops. And I'm skipping to the next column by hitting the tab button. Then you could go through and you can insert columns, or sorry, rows until you have the right number. If you do decide that you need another column, say you want 1 column for email and 1 column for phone numbers, you just right click that again and insert a column. So columns are the up and down and rows are side to side. And we are going to add the other sections, but this is something that you can add and change as you want to. You may decide that you don't want the potential problems section on this, or you don't want the budget on this because you have some other way of organizing that. You can just keep adding more headings as you go. So you can make this charter whatever you want it to be. When you're done, you're going to go up here to Untitled and change this to Project Charter, or you could name it something like the name of the project or something like that. Whatever makes sense for you. So that's how easy it is to use a document to organize some of your information. It kind of formalizes your brainstorming. You'll write down the project's purpose, and then you'll put in the goals, and also you might want to put in the expected results. And if you are working on a team, you might find out that some of the other people on the team see the project's purpose as something different. And it's a good idea at the beginning to make sure everyone has an idea of what it is you're actually trying to do, because you might find out halfway through the project that you have been pulling in 2 different directions. And with the digital document, you can share it with the entire team. And we're going to look at sharing at the end, because I'm going to share this sample project with you and a sheet after I get that started. So the next part is you're going to organize your tasks and priorities, and we're going to do that in Google Sheets. We're going to create a project tracker, and I'm going to get that started in just a minute. We're going to put all the tasks, the person responsible for the tasks, and the deadlines in this, and we're going to set up 1 column that has data validation. That is something that sounds scary if you haven't done it. I didn't use it for years. Even when I used spreadsheets all the time, I would never try to figure out data validation because it sounded intimidating. And then I had to learn it to teach a class, and I found out it is really easy, and it will save you time and effort later on. And if you have ever left a meeting feeling really good about the project and you thought it was a really good brainstorming session and you're really excited to be on the team, and then a week later you glance at your notes and you realize you don't know what you're supposed to do or when it's due, and you can see the beauty of this project tracker. This will prevent you guys from walking away from a meeting without knowing what your next step is. So I already opened up Google Sheets. We're going to open up blank. And this part is quite a lot like the table in our doc, but it's going to become a little more complicated as we go. You can do a lot in spreadsheets. So that is as easy as it is to just get this started. We're going to make it, like I said, a little more complicated, but even if you only do this part, you can see how much easier it would be to write your tasks here and when they're supposed to be started and when they're supposed to be due, and the person who is actually responsible for it. I'm going to make this first one a little wider, and I'm going to make the ones with dates a little narrower. And I'm going to make owner wider, and notes I'm going to make really wide. And resources. That's a little more realistic. So I'm just going to put in some basic filler again. Now, you can always see that might be a little bit hard to follow. I like to use color. So you can take this whole bar across the top. If you select the ones you want to have a color, you can either change the color of the text, or I like to change the background. And I don't like to use a dark background. You can do that and make the text white, but you might want to print this later, and that's not as easy to read. So I like to use a faint color, and this is really just, you know, however you like it. That's personal preference. Whatever is going to make it easier for you to follow it. So I'm going to put all these headings in bold. That will also make it easier. And just like in the last example, you might realize that you really need another column because you can track the status. And I think we should put that next to date due and owner. So I'm going to click on the D column for owner. Right click it, and I'm going to insert a column. I'm going to insert it to the left, so that will put it between date due and owner. And I'm going to name it status. And it's already in bold because I already put this whole section in bold. Now this is where we're going to use data validation. And you'll probably be surprised at how easy this is if you haven't seen it before. I'm going to grab that column, right click, and it's down at the bottom. So it's already got the cell range because we already grabbed that. We're going to give it a list of items, and we're going to check in the possible answers to this question. So the status is done, not started, or in progress. And there may be other levels of status that you would want, but we're going to make it simple. So then we're just going to save this. And now we've got this check mark. This says it's invalid because this isn't one of the things that's in the check mark, but you can just ignore that. I'm going to say that this is in progress because we've begun it. And then because I like to save room, I'm going to make that a little bit narrower. So another thing that you can do to make things a little bit easier is to format the date. So I'm going to grab both of these that have dates. I'm going to go to format and number. So you can go down here to date, and you can choose like date and time or just date. We're just going to do date. So I'm going to choose this, and it will put the year in. And then anytime someone puts in a date, even if they do it like in a weird way, it's just going to fix that for you. It will occasionally guess something wrong. Usually it's a really good way to make everything tidy and look the same. So it's just going to make it visually easier for you to follow. Another good thing about this is you can sort. So if you fill this out and your dates that you use are all over the place, you can grab that by clicking on the C. Right click it and then sort it, and you can sort it by your dates. You could also sort by owner so that all of yours are together. Let's see. Okay, that is everything that I have for doing a tracker. So I'm going to name it, I'm just going to name it Project Tracker. So you can probably see how this will be useful if you are working on a project and your team goes their separate ways and they all have their tasks that have been assigned. Then they can mark in this what they've started and what they haven't started. So if John in another apartment has come down with strep throat, he hasn't marked this as started or in progress, then you know that needs to be marked and not started because he hasn't gotten in there and done anything for it, and you know that the group needs to get together and discuss this and find out what's going on. And it's just a really good way to, like I said, get all of your tasks together, and you can sort them by the date that they are due. And it's just a better way to keep on top of a project. Okay, back to our slideshows. The Applied Digital Skills class has a segment on creating a budget in a spreadsheet. And we aren't going to do that because it will take a while, but they have all the videos on there for free. And there are budget templates. If you didn't want to do the class, if you just go to Sheets and look at the template gallery, you can find a budget and then just change it and adjust it to match what you need it to do and fill in all of your information. All right, the next part is a project report. And you can do this in Google Slides. And we are actually in Google Slides right now. It's what you're looking at. It is like a PowerPoint or any other kind of slideshow software. And the good thing about this part is they have a status report that's already in the templates, so you don't even have to do the formatting. It's already done for you. All you do is you go in and you replace your filler text, and you can change the layouts and you can rearrange the slides, and we're going to look at that in this slideshow. You can also add in whole empty slides, so you can put in anything that you want, and you can delete any slides that are not what you need. So the purpose of the presentation is to communicate the purpose and status of your project to other people, maybe in your organization or workplace or school. You could use something like this for like your child's school fundraiser. You could show people what you're fundraising for and why you're doing it and what you've done for the project and how it's going. There's lots of different uses for something like this. So before we go to the status report template, I'm going to show you how to change the appearance of your slideshow. And you might be surprised at how easy this is if you haven't done it. Let's see. Hold on a second. I think I might be in a thing where you can't change it. Theme. There it is. Okay. So you choose theme. And then you go over here and you just scroll down until you find one that you think looks good. You just click it and it applies it for you. And if you want something different, just find a different one, click it, and there it is. It does it for you. It's super easy. So I chose green, and all it does on this one is just put a little symbol up there, but sometimes it changes the font size, will add colors. And to rearrange the slides, all you have to do is go over here on the side where my mouse is and grab the one that you want to move and pull it, and then it'll renumber it for you. So the next time you go through this, like in a presentation, it's going to have that in the order that you want. I'm going to put it back where it was. If you go up here and click present, it's going to present where the whole screen is this slide. And the reason I'm not doing that is because in Zoom, it's a little bit difficult to go out of that and get into your other things quickly. I used to do it so that it looked nice and tidy and you didn't see the outline, but I like this better. But if you're actually presenting like to a crowd, you're going to go up here and do start presentation because it'll make everything bigger and clearer and better looking. Another thing you can do is to change the layout. If you go up here to slide and go to apply layout, it will show you all the different layouts and you can choose which one is better. Most of the time you'll use title and body probably. Sometimes I use section headers if I'm doing a longer slideshow and it has different subjects that it's covering. For this one, I could have done one for docs, one for sheets, and one for slides if I'd wanted to. You'll probably have a title slide. If you have something that's just a little bit of information and you want to be on its own slide to stand out, you can do main point. So these are just a good thing to know about. You can also just do a big blank box. Okay, so we are going to go to slides and we're going to go to template gallery. And if you are going to docs or sheets, they'll also have a template gallery there. And we're going to scroll down to work. Okay, they've moved it because I already clicked on it today. Out there, the status report. So this already has a format applied. It already has status report project name. So we would just go in here and just type the name of your actual project over there. It's got your name and a date. You would fix the date. If you wanted to add something else, you could insert a text box and you can put it here with maybe the name of all of your teams or your department. Or I'm going to undo that. You could go up here to images and you could upload an image like the company or the school's logo if you want to put that over here. If you go down, it's just got all the different parts done for you, and you would go in and just double click and you can type over that. This is just filler, and you'll see that online a lot. It doesn't mean anything. It's just to show you what it will look like when you have your information typed in. So if you select that and type over it, it will just type. I'm going to undo that. So we have schedule and goals for the next meeting. It's always a good idea to end a meeting with goals for the next meeting so people have their marching orders. And you've got some forward momentum instead of just having a meeting and then the meeting's done. And then before that, there's next steps for the whole project. This is pretty cool. It's a timeline. And again, it's already done. You don't have to really do anything. You just go in there and change that date. Sorry, I've got number lock on. It's really easy. You grab that, just type over it. It will already be in the box. It will look really good. It'll be really easy to read. And we're already almost done. So these steps are mostly about organization and communication. If you do the organization at the beginning, it's going to prevent problems later on. And if you use the sharing the documents, then that will take care of a lot of the communication problems that can really slow a project down. Everyone can be using the same document, and it doesn't have to be Google Docs and Google Sheets or Google Drive. Other brands have their own things. Apple has their own suite. Microsoft has a suite. You can use a lot of these things for free. And even if you aren't looking at this as something for your job, you can use these for any projects that aren't career related. These are some examples. If your family is moving, so you could create a spreadsheet. You could have a sheet for what you need to do before you move, a sheet for what you need to do on the day of the move, a sheet for things you need to remember for the unpacking. You could assign tasks, and you could put people's name on the task and a date due, and you could put a status on there so they can mark when they started it. You could have a shared document with your siblings if you're working on a family history. Everyone could just add to the same thing instead of swapping papers around. And you could make a slideshow to play in the background at a birthday party or something like that, which wouldn't really be a project, but is another way of using slideshows. So I'm going to share with you guys the doc and the sheet that we worked on. And for people who are watching this on YouTube, I will have a shortened version on a slide at the very end for you guys. So you won't have to get this entire really long URL and keep track of it. All right, so I'm going to go to the sheets, and there's share up there in the top right-hand corner. I'm going to get a link. That's how I'm going to share it. If you know someone's email address, you can put them up there. I'm going to set the, the permissions here. I'm going to take off editing and leave it on viewing. And I'm going to change this to anyone who has the link. If you don't do this, then someone will, if they try to log in, it will tell them they have to ask for permission. So it gives them a way to do that. They'll send you something, you'll okay it or not okay it. I don't know how many people are going to see this, so I want to just change it to anyone who has the link. All right, and then it will copy the link for you. then put it in the chat. And again, I'm going to have a short version of this. So if you don't want to, I mean, you can't even see all that. So I'll take care of that at the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you want to play with these documents, I'll have a short version. So I'm just saying I'm done. I'm going to go over your sheets and do it again, just so that you see it again. So I share it, change the permissions, change to anyone who has a link, and copy the link. Now I'm going to stop this share, and I'm going to share a different, here we go. So this is an incognito. I've signed in on another account. I'm going to put in that shared document. And it says that it's view only. That is so that no one accidentally puts their personal information on this that other people can see. So I'm trying to type it and it won't let me. So what you'll do is you'll go to File and make a copy. And okay, it's going to save it to Drive. It says copy of project tracker. If you want to rename that, you just type it there and put in whatever you want. And now I can type into it. So again, when you have a shared copy, it'll say view only if it's not set to be edited. So you go to File and you make a copy. This is what you'll do with the Word document as well. Then you'll have your own version and you can type whatever you want, and it will only be shared with anyone you choose to share it with. Okay, I'm going to go back. Sorry about all the screen flipping around. I wanted to be logged in as someone else so that you guys can see what it looks like when you're logged in. All right, I'm going to go back to the slideshow. And the last thing is how to contact me. So the first email address is my work email. I have it open all the time. The second email is my Gmail. You can, if you want to, say, practice sharing a document and you don't want to send to anyone who doesn't know what they're getting, you can send that to me and just say this is a test. You know, just look at it, tell me if you got it, and I'll let you know. Also is how you can contact me on Hangouts if you have a question about any of these classes, and also my phone extension. If you want to call the library and leave me a message, you can call that extension and leave me a voicemail. And then the last thing, if you are watching this before August 1st, if you go to this, you can do a survey to let me know. And if you're watching this before August 1st, you can go to the second survey. It's to enter a drawing for a resume review. So if you are job hunting right now and you watch this before August 1st, 2020, or on August 1st, 2020, then you can enter this drawing. What you do is it takes you to a survey. You put in your name, your email address, a phone number, and you'll tell it if you are 21 or under, or if you're over 21, because we have two different drawings. I just need to know which one to put you in. And then a professional HR rep in the city is going to review a few resumes for us. The first survey is just a how did this go for you survey, just to let me know what I need to change, and that would be really helpful. So thanks for coming or watching, and we'll be putting some more classes on our website and on YouTube, so keep an eye out for those. Thank you.